think I was like ignorant because like, you know, like I'm a bigger girl. Like, you know, I've always been a bigger girl in my entire life. And then like Will's not a big,
You're like the athlete body type.
yeah. Like I just feel like I've just, you know, I'm meaty, you know, I'm in the heavy division, which breaks my heart. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I'm the, yes, I like to say I'm in the thick division. It makes me feel better about myself.
I like it, man. That's
and then Will,
exactly accurate.
he's a big guy too. So it's like you walk in and like, you just see this guy who's smaller than you. And in your head, you're like, wait, this guy's going to beat me up, you know, and they're like, teach me things and stuff. It's not the first impression that I wanted, you know, but it's just, and then we roll and I'm like, wait, why are you 1,000% stronger than me? Why do you feel like you weigh 800 pounds? What are you doing? What's this voodoo that you're doing to me? And it's just like, honestly, it was like something hard for me to swallow for a while. Cause I was like, why are you beating me up?
Yeah.
You know, I'm so much bigger than you. Why are you beating me up? But like Jerry says, like jiu-jitsu is for the small guy. And it's just so true. So cool. But like, I was just so frustrated for so long, but I get it now, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's how a lot of people market it because yeah, of course it has a lot of truth to it. But think about this, right? Like, yeah, it's for the smaller guy. But if I had like, you're the very example of it. You and Will. It's almost like if you had some guy or girl that had your guys' body type and they knew how to do jiu-jitsu with the technique you guys had. It's like, what the fuck? Like, it's not the small guy kind of like sport. It's like, dude, you're completely fucked. If you're that athletic, if, you know, you have a body type on you, you're coordinated and you've been training for years. It's like, come on, dude. Like, that's just a freak athlete at that point, right? Like that's.
I mean, I like to think so, but you know, I want to stay like humble about it. But like even Will, like
it's true. I mean, again, I'm not. I don't try to blow smoke up anyone's ass for a reason. Yeah. There's a reason, like you're here because it's like, oh, there's. Sorry to cut you off on that one, but then good. we talked about it again before on the podcast before we started recording. And there's just something about like high school athletes or people that played sports when coming up. It's the coordination. It's all of it. It's strength. They probably had the muscle memory of weight training. That's a part of it, right? Like you have to hit the weight room. And all those years, it's kind of like being breaded as a fighter when you're 5 years old. It's just something different. Yeah. It's like, oh crap, like, okay, there's a difference between getting trained at 5 years old and being trained at 16 years old.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know?
Just, couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And if you started softball, say, even at an early age, like 17, 18, even that's later, but then like 16 or something compared to someone growing up playing the sport and then getting into like collegiate sports, it's like, yeah, it's night and day. Yeah. But anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just going to say, I was just going to talk about Will because I like to do that. No, I was just saying like with Will, he is a big guy, but he's so limber. He's like flexible. It's so annoying rolling with him because you're like, you're a 250-pound man. Why do you flow that well?
He's flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
it's just like so annoying. But to go off of what you said, like, I just think too, those sports growing up taught me how to fail. And I think, what do you do every day in jiu-jitsu? You probably have to tap. You have to figure out, why did I mess up that move? You fail every day. So I think, you know, people don't know how to fail too often. And if you know how to fail, then you can build from that. You can grow, you can learn, you can get better. You can accept it better, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
I like that one.
Yeah. So
especially that one.
It's just like, I don't know, the sports, you know, every time I threw a ball down the middle and it got ripped, I learned how to fail, right? So it's just like those sports taught me how to fail. And I think that's something that has been, I don't know, it's important, you know, like think about it. Like these kids, you know, they have perfect records, they have perfect whatever. And it's like, okay, well, what's your emotional intelligence look like whenever you don't do that as well as you thought, you know, especially nowadays, you know, kids, I don't think know how to like really,
like process.
You know, so it's sad, but no, I think it's so important when it comes to just doing more than one sport growing up. Especially a team sport. I am a team sport girl. So, you know, it taught me so many things about having to rely on you and my own self-accountability, but you know, time management skills. I think I kind of mastered that in, you know, my personal life and my business, you know, and then honestly, it's just like when I was coaching, I was looking at those athletes being like, okay, did you play like other sports in high school? More so just to see like, can you handle the difference between like your IQ with volleyball, maybe your IQ in softball. You like, like how can you handle the transition between the two, the balance of everything? It's just
How emotionally aware are you?
yeah,
Right? Like yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like how yeah, the psychological aspects of it I think is huge, especially to in your like from where you're standing, how coachable an athlete is, because I think that's what maybe determines it is how emotionally aware they are.
yeah,
It's kind of like, if they're freaking out all the time and then you tell them, hey, man, just relax. And then they keep doing the same thing over and over.
yeah.
Whereas someone, because quite frankly, I think that's the definition of intelligence is that how fast you could pick something up as soon as, you fell at it, like you said. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. All right,
Yeah.
let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you think for you translated the most with playing sports as a kid to jujitsu?
Ooh,
Like your biggest draw, your trump card.
let's think. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like as much as like individualized jujitsu is, you're still playing a dance with somebody else, right? So I've always done something where like my catcher had to catch me, I was facing a pitcher. They're all intertwined, I think.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's the fail part. I think I know I've said it before, but like I learned how to fail, and then in jujitsu you fail. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer that you wanted,
No,
but
no.
it's just like
It is because that means if you say it and that's your first thing to go to, that means like it's really like what you go to,
Oh, yeah.
right? It's
doesn't
like
mean
your
I like
first
it
thing.
either. I'm not saying I'm
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not. I'm kind of a sore loser. Don't get me wrong, but like, but it's just what you have to do.
Yeah.
Every day in life you somehow have to like learn from something. But I don't know. Failing is not necessarily even a negative thing either. It's just something that like you have to do to just continue to grow.
Say in jiu-jitsu when you have like a shitty day like everyone else does.
Yesterday, got it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just
Every
now,
day.
how do you go home and process that? Like, and you know what's funny? I know what you mean by like being a sore loser because I think it's in everyone's head. Whether it's a sore loser as in like you're your harshest critic, because
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's all that means.
Yeah.
Is that's what it means being like a sore loser to yourself, right? You're your harshest critic. You want to do better, and there's nothing wrong with that. But how do you process it? Like, do you like right before bed? Do you have some ritual like saying it to your subconscious? Like, yeah.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
You
Yeah.
idiot. Stupid.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Like take notes. I don't know.
for me, I think I believe in short-term memory. Like I remember the things that I want to get better at. There's things that I like almost like concede to because it's more comfortable for me. So like when in doubt, I'm gonna sit. I'm like always like when in doubt, sit it out. No, I don't want to freaking get to my butt. So like there's definitely things that like in my head, I'm like, you did that today. You fell into like being comfortable today, and that's what I get mad at. I gave that person the same role. Like that's the stuff that I get mad at myself for. Sometimes I cry, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I just get so frustrated. I cry in my car. And then after that, maybe I vent to Will for a second, but I really just try to let it go. I remember what I need to get better at. But at the end of the day, I'm done rolling for the day. So like, can I go back and change anything I did? So no.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My biggest thing is short-term memory, but remember the things that like but still have the goals that you're trying to get better at,
Right.
I don't know. Like at the end of the day, like, jujitsu, you get the opportunity to do jujitsu basically every day of your life, maybe except Sundays, but
Yeah.
like for the most part, you get to do jujitsu 6 times a week. Like,
Yeah.
why are you going to hold on to everything that you do wrong
Exactly.
in like a negative way versus looking at it as like, okay, tomorrow I'm not going to sit to my butt whenever maybe we're in a transition or something. Like I'm going to try to get on top. Like those are like little goals that I have, but
Yeah. I think that's a big psychological kind of killer too, is that when we look back and say coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? When you look back on those rounds, it's okay just as long as I think you can learn from it and then not dwell on it so much.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Jocko says, but I'm like, sometimes it's hard to do though, right? It's almost like fuck, because again, you have such a high standard for yourself. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
well, but here we are, right? We're here to learn, and then and which relates to like injury wise too, because like you said, we can do jujitsu like what 5-6 days out of the week,
Yeah.
and then on to the next one. Like and I promise you this relates, but then relating to like injury, that's what I always tell myself when I go too ham. That's why I'm more nowadays, and being 39, I'm like, oh, I need to like slow it down because there's this game that you want to play with people. Sometimes it's like a comparison game. It's almost like, wait, he's getting better. Am I getting better? Right? Like, and then you want to ramp it up.
Yeah.
And you want like what is it? Like a fucking car crash every fucking time you go with someone. But and you think that's the way to go. But
No, yeah.
it's not, I got to remind myself, like if I tear like an ACL, I'm out for 6 months. Like,
Yeah.
and then if I don't, I'll roll the next day. Then I'll roll 10,000 more times after that.
Yeah.